was awesome, you guys. I'm sorry we don't have any more chairs. We own them. We bring them in, but I don't. There's a couple of, yeah, there's a little bit over here, and there's some, there's couch, and there's a couple chairs back over here. So.
Oh, yeah. Come on over.
Just come on over. Welcome every one of you. Before I start this, I want to mention our friend who came all the way from the Netherlands for this party. This is, back there in the blue shirt is Garrett and Bosslander. They are friends of ours from the Netherlands. He's an awesome person. This morning, I woke up this morning at like 6:30, thinking about the 60s, and I love the music of the 60s, I always have. But there was so much other stuff going on in the 60s, things that came to mind. And so I got up and I said, I think somebody needs to say this. And he said, go ahead. So I have no idea if this makes any sense or not, but this is just my rambling memories of growing up in the 60s. I was very much a child of the 60s, graduated from high school in 1967. Yeah. So it was, we were there for the whole thing. Anyway, I think we can all, I'm just going to kind of read through this. I think we can all agree the music was the best ever written, and I loved listening to all of these rehearsals and having everybody here. But I'm just grateful that that was my decade, and I wouldn't change it for the world. But it was the best of times, and it was the worst of times, too. My memories of the early 60s was a time of great optimism and peace and hope as John and Jackie Kennedy took the White House. We felt safe, we felt wealthy, everyone wanted to dress just like Jackie. We loved her elegant clothes and her little beautiful flippy-do hairdo. We all tried to do that. I didn't do it in the 60s, still won't do it. They were young and they were relatable, and life felt happy and pure. The music was gentle. We had the Righteous Brothers, Herb Alpert, the Tijuana Brass, Sam Cooke. There wasn't anything on TV that you couldn't watch from this. Movies of those years were things like Mary Poppins, Camelot, My Fair Lady, To Kill a Mockingbird, and of course The Sound of Music. I swear that Climb Every Mountain played every hour on the radio, on the AM radio. It was on all the time. Nobody knew what a taco was yet, or pizza. I had not had pizza yet in the early 60s. Pantyhose had not been invented. We had all these other contraptions that we had to wear. And my main concerns were my studies. Would I have enough dippity-doo and Aquanet for the week? What my date and I were going to do on Saturday night, which boys were driving by my house, and which matching sweater set and skirt I was going to wear to school tomorrow. Cruising was definitely an important activity when you lived in a small Kansas town. We had to see who was out and who was riding with whom. That was a big deal. And honk at everybody as you went past them a jillion times. Driving up and down the same about a mile-long stretch in our town. There was one little place to turn around at each end. And the south end of town was the A&W and the Tasty Freeze, so that's where everybody kind of went to hang out. We'd stop at the A&W and get something to drink, maybe switch cars so somebody else could use their 19-cent a gallon gas. We could be entertained quite a while on, 50 cents and take the whole evening. Not only did we have the best music to listen to on the AM car radio, we also had the best cars. What I would give to have my green 55 Chevy back again. The boys spent an incredible amount of time working on their cars and keeping them spotless. And our high school parking lot, I've got some of my yearbooks out and looked, the parking lots were like a custom car show. It was full of 57 Chevys, 55 Chevys, muscle cars, and a few of the rich kids had 65 Mustangs. And there was nothing better than the sound of a 57 Chevy with the dumps opened up. but my parents, my mother hated that. We lived on kind of an incline on our street, and the guys would start at the top and open the stumps up. And it just made a horrendous noise as they come down the hill. But I knew who was going by the house that way. But then the first realization that our world might not be perfect forever was the death of John Kennedy. And I'm sure if you were there, you remember where you were and what the situation was when you heard about that. And it's kind of like we just didn't think anything like that could ever happen to us. You know, it was just stuff like that just didn't happen. It was quite a deal. I remember they brought TVs into the school, and then I think we even went home the day of the funeral and watched it all on TV. So, but then it was about 1965 that things started to feel like there was really a change coming. That was the first year that some of my classmates had to head to Vietnam after graduation. The Civil Rights Act had been passed in 1964, and there were protests and conflicts starting in a lot of cities. Motown was always my music, and it was so difficult to watch Detroit and Watts, and especially I was close to Kansas City, and lots of fires and things up on the Paseo in Kansas City, if you're from that area. And I remember, actually I was in college by the time a lot of that was happening, watching that on TV in my dorm room, in my dorm lobby, with a lot of the girls were down there watching the one TV. And there were a lot of girls from Kansas City that were saying, "That's my neighborhood, that's my grandma's house." You know, that was wow, yeah, hard to process. The music and the movies kind of began to reflect the times. We had Easy Rider, Midnight Cowboy, Goldfinger. Those were the date movies now. Music began to reflect the unrest, and we ushered out the 60s with Woodstock. Now we had Jimi Hendrix, Janis Joplin, the Grateful Dead, and that became the soundtrack of our lives. That one weekend, I think, when I think back about it, I think that one weekend changed our music, our dress, our politics, our world like nothing else that's happened in our generation. The baby boomers have always been a force to be reckoned with because there were so many of us. Yeah. But we all kind of had our cause and became more vocal about it than our parents had been, and that didn't sit well with a lot of parents. I know mine was weird. But I wouldn't have chosen to be a part of any other generation or any other decade to grow up in. We really did have the best childhood, the best music, the best cars, and as tonight proves, this is still the music everybody wants to hear. So, I will let you get out.